Hello, my name is Patrick. You're watching this video on Rising Saw Woodworking. This channel is going to be pretty soon. There's not many videos left. I'm essentially uploading videos on this channel to try catch the eyes of my current subscribers, that's possibly you guys, and to bring you over to the new channel. We're in the process of growing. We're making some pretty good headway. We had a pretty exciting moment there. 731 Woodworks commented on one of the videos. That was pretty cool. But yeah, so if you're subscribed to this channel already, or you're interested in what I do, check the comment. First comment, it's pinned, goes to my other channel. Description goes to the same video in the other channel. Check it out, subscribe, and there's none of this stuff in the beginning. I was nearly ended trying to make this gift. I've introduced the project. Now you may have 5 questions. Question 1. Is this something I could or want to build? How do I make a bread saw or bread bow? How did this project beat/end you? Will I ever make another one? And should I subscribe to this new woodworking YouTuber? All of these questions will be answered during this video and a handful of others, starting with how we make it. Firstly, I'm looking for stock that's roughly 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I took some of my rough hardwood scraps. They're 36 inches long, 2 inches wide, and between 1/2 inch to 2 inches thick. Rough on one face, nicely surfaced on the other. With a variety of walnut, hickory, ash, maple, cherry, and oak to choose from, I selected woods to get a nice two-tone look and applied a fair amount of glue and clamped them together very tightly.
A few moments later.
While we take these out of clamps, let's tackle a question. Will I ever make these again? The short answer, no. It was not an enjoyable process, but the long answer, probably one day I will. I don't like being defeated. I'm very competitive, and I feel like I've lost to this project. I am not okay with those results. Let's move on to the template. It was about 5 months ago that I fell in love with template routing. It's an easy way to get consistent results, takes away the guesswork and the skill work, which for me, taking away the skill work is a very good thing because there's no skill. For this bread saw, there are 3 components: the handle, the blade, and the cutout for the bread slices. I suppose the handle and the cutout are all part of one thing, but... So I started marking up on my MDF. I gave some nice smooth curves, and when I was happy with it, I moved on to cutting it out with the bandsaw. I made a template because I was planning on making a bunch of these. 1 for me, 2 for gifts, and 5 to sell, hopefully to pay for all the effort, and maybe discover a new project that sells. My bandsaw is small and tucked away in the corner, so the camera angle is really bad. I hope you can forgive me, and I hope you like my shirt. And now it's time to take that rough stock that we glued together and make it into a usable dimensional blank for our bread saws, starting with the jointer. I cleaned up 2 faces that share an edge to get 2 clean, flat, straight reference edges, and then I can use my table saw to get 2 more parallel sides, and I bring it down to 1 3/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. Now while I trace the template and cut it out with my jigsaw, I will tackle another question. Can, or better yet, should you make this project? Can you? Absolutely. There are so many ways to tackle this project. If you're doing a one-off, I would skip the template and go straight to the jigsaw and call it a day after that. Should you? Well, what's your motive? I think the way that I go about it is a viable way to make these and to make money doing it. But there are better ways. A CNC, for example, would be much easier and overall probably more cost effective. I think it's a nice project and it makes a good gift, and the one that I got out of that was well received for the most part. More on that later. Now we add our double-sided tape and we start the template routing process. I purchased this router bit by SPE Tool. It has about 2.5 inches of cutting capacity and it's absolutely the most terrifying thing I've ever used. Well, maybe not terrifying. It's the most intimidating thing that I've ever used. The router bit costs just under $200, which makes it the most expensive router bit I own, by a margin of about 7 times the cost. And my disappointment was...
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Well, it should not be exaggerated here. The result I was receiving was poor at best. Now to point out some safe practices I'm doing slightly off camera, because I will get the comments. When I get to a point where the bit is likely to catch and throw the wood, my hand is firmly planted against the edge of the table with a couple fingers under the table itself. There's no chance of that hand being pulled away. And the chipping out, well, it did. Now, this is the first one I show, but there's actually 3 more prior to this one, which I've already thrown away. This is the second last attempt at making this bread saw, and the last attempt at making it with this router bit. And probably the worst chip out yet. And a burst of anger as I throw it across the room. So I have one more attempt, 3 questions to answer, and I went to don't give a fuck, just get it done mode. Palm router, cheap router bits, about $4 a piece, and I just went to town on this wood, kind of like your mom. So how did this project nearly end me? Well, that router wanted to take my hand, but worse than the router, these breadsaw blades. As I applied oil, I sliced my finger open. I barely grazed the blade, but it cut incredibly deep. And when I gave this as a gift, yeah, you guessed it, it cut them as well. They were not happy about it. I barely made it out alive. So, this project was very dangerous for me to tackle. Now we're in the finishing steps. Round over, sanding, applying some oil, and attaching the blade. That's the order you should do it in. Oil, then attach blade. So that answers the question on how to make the bread saw / bow, and that leaves one last question. Should you subscribe? Well, if you're still watching at this point, then I would say I've provided some entertainment, and maybe I've taught you some things. So I would ask in return that you like this video and subscribe. Allow me the opportunity to entertain and teach you more things in the future as I discover more things. And now I will wrap things up. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Did I just cut myself again? Did I actually just cut myself as I was about to tell you to be careful with this blade, because you might cut yourself? Just a poke. We're okay. Now you may have thought that the most dangerous part of this project was the router. Wrong. It's oiling this thing if you have the blade on. Oil it first, then put the blade on. And then never touch it again, because it's dangerous. It's a weapon, and it hurts. And it cuts very deep. Kind of like the way your mom likes it. All right, we're going to close this video down. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, my name is Patrick. And if any of you noticed during the intro that I've got a red mark here, it was my daughter. I bought a piece of plywood and I had it in the back of my truck. She was running away from me and I ran straight into that piece of plywood.